intervened in the IL&FS matter. Do you think that intervention will be superseding the board help, or is this action coming in too late?
Thank you very much for having me on the show. I think it's a step in right direction. I wouldn't call it that it's a delayed decision, because as you know, the last 3-4 weeks only this IL&FS issue has been haunting the money markets and capital markets on that. So, but government has acted very swiftly. But I think it's just the first stepping stone. I think we have a long road here. IL&FS, as you know, is no more just a financial institution. I think IL&FS ventured into, and wrongly so, from being a financing company for infrastructure and leasing projects to started getting into owning the own infrastructure projects. And I think that is a classical mistake made by IL&FS. So I think we should not take IL&FS as only just as a non-banking finance company having an impact on the entire financial sector. I think it is also an infra play like any other infrastructure play in India, and the companies which are having a problem on that. So this problem has to be seen from the prism of that it's an infrastructure play which owns the infrastructure assets and what's happening with the entire infrastructure sector per se. So it's just not picking up the IL&FS and trying to resolve the matter. I don't think that will be yielding into any success. And second thing is this, that just changing the board with having 5 or 6 new directors. I have nothing against them, but that's not enough, because you have also sacked the management team, or any other person to be sacked in the management team. One has to restore the management team back in place. One has to get a new management team to do the work. Board can't, and board is not expected to do and run day-to-day affairs of the company. So I think it's very different from Satyam. I mean, people often compare it with Satyam. Satyam did not have any borrowing. Satyam was a complete fraud, which was also openly admitted by Mr. Raju, and then that is how the board was sacked and new board was done, and quickly the company was merged. I don't think any of those factors will apply to IL&FS. So IL&FS has to be seen from a very different perspective, and I hope the new board really takes on the challenge and does a good job.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, because there are all sorts of views really in the market right now. Some are saying that perhaps the new formed board under Uday Kotak will be in more credible hands and perhaps reassure investors. But the fact of the matter is also that the IL&FS Risk Committee members have not met once in 2 years. So perhaps more accountability needs to be assigned to directors. But the other issue, Mr. Singhvi, is that this crisis has brought to forefront the fact that mutual fund exposures to NBFCs, and you know, SEBI and RBI have swung into action only after the carnage in the markets played out. Is there need to be more proactive when monitoring by regulators?
I think you have raised a very important issue, and I think we must learn from IL&FS episode that SEBI has miserably failed in looking at the rating agencies. In fact, IL&FS, if you look at it, the problem has been it has been run like a fiefdom of one man for last 30 years. I don't think the board's oversight was enough in case of IL&FS, though IL&FS board was comprising of many serving and retired officers at various points in time on that, and including the larger shareholder, that is LIC. LIC has been a nominee on the board of IL&FS for a long time. Having said this, I think the rating agencies have miserably failed in looking at the health of IL&FS. It was like an MTech auto. All of a sudden, you have a AA, AAA company getting down to D, and that's what the rating agencies are doing. There has been really no oversight on the rating agencies, the whole methodology, and the teams which are really giving these kind of ratings. How could a AAA become D overnight on that? That means there is something more wrong to this. I think IL&FS should be a good example and an eye opener for all the regulatory framework in India. It's not a small deal. It's about a 1 lakh crore rupees which has been there on that. But I don't have any iota of doubt in my mind that most of the mutual funds and most of the other lenders to IL&FS failed miserably in having a credit assessment. You just cannot go by the AAA rating and rely upon that. Ultimately, you are giving the money to IL&FS, which has turned from a financing company to an infrastructure play. Would you have given this kind of a money to any other infrastructure company? Answer is no. So you were relying largely on account of the shoddy job by the rating agencies, and rating agencies have failed in last 2 years in many cases on that. So I don't have any sympathy for all the mutual funds, those who invested into the IL&FS paper, and they should not be. Why should government and public money be there to bail out the problems of the mutual fund industry on account of their having invested with IL&FS? I for one surely would recommend you not to get into that. If mutual funds has an exposure, so be it.
So be it. Okay. That's that on the IL&FS case. But in my introduction, Mr. Singhvi, I said that, there's too much brewing in the financial sector, which puts the question mark on the health of the space for a lot of global investors watching the sector and, what's happening there. Talking of regulators, RBI has been taking very strict stand, be it with Yes Bank or Bandhan Bank. Would this signal be enough in stopping bankers in ignoring rules?
I think RBI has doing a commendable job. I think we all, at least those who are attached to the or looking at financial services market from very close quarters, my complete commendable applaud for RBI having done for last couple of months a clinching job, and I think RBI should not relent on that, because if we really want to have a Swachh Bharat, we must have the Swachh financial sector. And I think this cleansing and cleaning up process is very, very good, because then we will have, even if we slow down in the growth for a couple of quarters, I think heavens are not going to fall, because we must have a robust growth based on solid fundamentals. I think the banking industry has for last almost 10 years almost forgotten how to do and appraise the credit assessments. So I think RBI is doing a very, very good job. Its whole pursuit of relentlessness should continue till such time the entire sector is cleaned up.